Nobody's journey is seamless or smooth. We all stumble. We all have setbacks. If things go wrong, you hit a dead end, as you will. It's just life's way of saying, time to change course. So ask every failure. This is what I do. Every failure, every crisis, every difficult time, I say, what is this here to teach me?
You're never just a victim of circumstances. No matter what happens, you're never without options that can get you back on the track. It takes courage to recognize that, because it means accepting responsibility for your own future. But I would suggest that we should accept that responsibility, because no one is really going to accept it for us, no matter what we may have been led to believe.
Instead of focusing on how unfair your situation is, I'm challenging you to use your frustration to push you harder. I want you to know that you are not finished. In fact, you are just getting started.
If you don't learn how to master the breaking point, you may have many ventures, but you will not accrue massive success in any area because you have not mastered the breaking point.
It takes courage to act. Part of being hungry when you've been defeated, it takes courage to start over again.
Yes, we have those ups and downs. But in the end, your success, your happiness, your greatness comes from within.
This is it right here. This is that moment that you got to work. This is that moment when you got to push. There is no weakness in the place of business. There is no time to be wasting in the place of business.
I wanted to be somebody so bad, it just ate me up inside. It was in my bones. It was in my blood. It was in my heart. I want to be somebody. You've got to have standards in your life. You've got to have rules you live by. Discipline, the definition, is doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it.
Begin to know that whatever it takes for you to create that, you've got that in you. You've got that. You've got genius in you. You've got goodness in you. You've got creativeness in you. If you decide to take the initiative to change the current quality of your life, I say to you that you will find that the universe is on your side.
Take the first step. Get some momentum. Don't ever stop working for your dream. If you really want it, you will plan for it. If you really want it, you will work for it. If you really want it, you will sacrifice for it.
So when you say to yourself, support, there's no coach, there's no trainer to keep you going. It's only you. The whole thing is this. Don't say a word. Stay uncommon amongst uncommon people. You're never done. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. Stay hard.
Professionals don't need recognition for their freaking work. Stop walking around thinking that you deserve a pat on your back. Whatever it is you've been called to do, it has to become literally ingrained into the fibers of your being to the point that you couldn't possibly do anything else. You couldn't possibly do anything else. And when it becomes who you are, you don't care about recognition. Somebody tells you good job. You say, what the crap you talking about, man?
It's just what I do.
I just got up and did what I do, man.
That's it.
This is what I do. I will serve with honor. Who knows what honor is? Honor is the adherence to what is right. I will serve with honor on and off the battlefield of life. That means at work and at home. I will do what is right. I will have honor, whether I'm at home or whether I'm here. The ability to control my emotions and my actions, regardless of circumstances, what sets me apart. Uncompromising integrity is my standard. What is integrity? It's having honor when no one's looking.
You want to set your goals in a unmotivated state of mind. You want to say to yourself, what's realistic forever? Like that's a good thing to ask yourself. Okay, I'm going to make some changes. The change that I make today, is this realistic forever? If it's not, I'm not going to make that change yet. I'm going to move down a little bit and pick something a little easier, right? Still needs to be challenging because it needs to have meaning, but what's a change that I can make that will last, that I feel like I can do for the rest of my life? Start there. And here's what will happen over time. Little by little, you'll make more and more changes. And little by little, you develop the skill of discipline. Discipline is a skill, as anybody who has it can tell you. You don't start off super disciplined. You develop the skill of discipline. And through that development of that skill, now you develop consistency. You develop a lifelong relationship with fitness and exercise that works in balance with the rest of your life. That's the approach. That's the only way we're going to solve these chronic health issues that we're trying to deal with. We can't solve them with the motivation, inspiration model. We can't solve them with the self-hate model. It doesn't work. Just doesn't work. That's a great way to get people to lose weight and gain it back. It's not going to work long term. We got to look over here. Not as sexy. Doesn't sound as awesome or as exciting. It doesn't have fireworks coming off of it, but this is the only way. And it's our job to make this sound sexier than that. That's the hard part.
The greatest benefit you enjoy from exerting self-discipline in the pursuit of your goals is that you become a different person. You become stronger and more resolute. You develop greater self-control and determination. You actually shape and strengthen your personality and transform yourself into a better person. The rule is that to become someone that you have never been before, you must do something that you have never done before. This means that to develop a superior character, you must exert ever higher levels of self-discipline and self-mastery upon yourself. You must do the things that average people don't like to do. Another success principle is that to achieve something that you have never achieved before, you must learn and practice qualities and skills that you have never had before. By practicing self-discipline, you become a new person. You become better, stronger, and more clearly defined. You develop higher levels of self-esteem, self-respect, and personal pride. You move yourself up the ladder of human evolution and become a person of higher character and resolve. Success is its own reward. The wonderful thing about the achievement of success is that every step in that direction is rewarding in itself. Each step you take toward becoming a better person and accomplishing more than you ever have before makes you feel happier, more confident, and more fulfilled. You've heard it said that nothing succeeds like success. What this means is that the greatest reward of success is not the money you make, but rather the excellent person you become in the process of striving towards success and exerting self-discipline every time it is required. The test of character. It is only when you are under pressure, when you are forced to choose one way or another, to either live consistently with a value or to compromise it, that you demonstrate your true character. Emerson also said, guard your integrity as a sacred thing. Nothing at last is sacred except the integrity of your own mind. You are a choosing organism. You are constantly making choices, one way or the other. Every choice you make is a statement about your true values and priorities. At each moment, you choose what is more important or of higher value to you over what is less important or of lesser value. The only bulwark against temptation, the path of least resistance in the expediency factor is character. The only way that you can develop your full character is by exerting your willpower in every situation when you are tempted to do what is easy and expedient rather than what is correct and necessary. In addition to feeling excellent about yourself when you behave with character, you also earn the respect and esteem of all the people around you. They will look up to you and admire you. Doors will be opened for you. People will help you. You will be paid more, promoted faster, and given even greater responsibilities. As you become a person of honor and character, opportunities will appear all around you.
See, the problem with you is you rarely exercise your self-discipline muscle. You just go with the flow. No backbone whatsoever. And that's perfectly fine until you start whining and complaining about your lack of success.
That at some point along the way, we get confused and we misunderstand who we are. We start building this false sense of self around all the stories and all the labels and all the things. And we start living our life that way. And we get confused about how life works, how we interact with life. And we start living much smaller than we really are.
See, if you go through life holding back, and most of us do, most of us, if we ask ourselves, have we done all we can do? Most of us will have to answer, no, we haven't. We've been holding back. We have ideas that we don't act on, things we want to do. We're afraid to take chances.
You refuse to raise your standards. You refuse to push yourself. You refuse to give a little bit more, give a little bit extra.
All that you have to do in order to start to pursue your dreams is take small actions every day that align your life in that direction.
You have to be willing to be hungry enough to understand that if this is something that you are truly going after, then work has to be applied. You can't make excuses. You can't ask for a pass. And you got to understand that you got to pay a toll to cross the bridge.
Whatever your answer is, you can do it right now, today, starting today, right? It's still possible. You can start doing that right now. It's empowering the present with the future. There is nothing stopping you from making it happen right now. You never, ever have to feel that way if you start doing it right now. And you can do it right now.
The thing about self-discipline is that it is necessary for everything you do in your life. You have to be self-disciplined.
And once you understand that you can always make a different choice and get a different reaction, and that's the power in your life. That's the power that you have, is no matter what's going on, you can choose to think differently, believe differently, see differently. All of those things are a choice. You have a why, you can survive almost any how.
Once you begin to discover who you are, then you really realize how you have been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, including all the dimensions of your life. But you can only do that through the struggle of life.
Get better, grow and learn and develop and live. Live in defiance of the weakness and in rebellion against the decay. Fight them as they creep in with their offers of instant gratification and immediate rewards. Fight them for every inch they try to take. Do not surrender any ground ever.
When you commit to something, you require yourself to bring all of your disparate components moving in a single direction, united in a single direction. So it's a unifying act. And then once having been unified, well, then you can bring that unity to bear on a variety of different tasks. But you have to bring it together first. So, and that makes sense developmentally. You see children start out as a disparate bundle of motivations and emotions sort of warring with one another. And then they can integrate that into single games that they can play with themselves. And then they integrate that with games they start to play with other people. And all of that is integration. It's not subjugation. It's not repression. Not if it's a good game. It's integration. You want to get integrated because then you have all the horses that are pulling your chariot pulling in the same direction. And you're much more likely to get to where you want to go then. And also much more likely to specify a good place to go. So that's that's something else conservatives have to teach young people, which is, well, get yourself disciplined. Well, why? Well, not so you're a slave, but so that you could be a master, to use a terminology that you're not supposed to use anymore. But, this is in relationship to yourself, not to others. Yeah, and to begin with, you have to accept an external master because you just don't have the wisdom to do that for yourself, or the ability or the opportunity often. Everybody knows this. They feel bad when they decide they're going to get themselves in good shape and go to the gym, and lasts like 3 attempts, yeah. And then no one's happy about the fact that they quit, and they berate themselves for it. And we know that we need to go through a disciplinary process. We need to subjugate ourselves to a disciplinary process. That's part of the problem with the constant harping about the, oppressive patriarchy. But you need a disciplinary process. So, well, that's just oppression and slavery. It's like, no, it's not. No more than a game is. Not a good game. A good game isn't oppression and slavery.
A lot of people, like I was talking about, taking the path of least resistance. I believe in life, you must earn the right to be called a man. And a lot of people do not think the way I do, and that's fine. I'm not asking you to behave at Goggins. Trust me, it's a hard road to hoe. It's not fun. It's not fun all the time. But the thing about it is, you have to look, I looked at my hardships as challenges. Once I got over the pity party, because I went through that phase. Of course. I'm a normal human being. But I realized that got me exactly where I was at, even worse. As I looked at those challenges the way most people do, woe is me. Why the fuck can't I get a break? Why? I wish I was better. I wish my parents were better. I wish I had a better education. I wish this, I wish that. They have all these wish sandwiches. I started realizing, how can I figure out how it can work for me? So the one thing we don't do is when we're in that dark place is a great learning environment. If you can sit back in a dark place and find quiet to just think, there's so much power in your failures, in your suffering. Because why? You're still alive. You're still here. So you gotta look at that shit. My God, man, this is power, man. Like, now I gotta flip this. How many men would be able to do what I'm about to do, what I'm about to try to do? Like, literally, what gave me strength was when I was at the worst of my worst. How many men would even fucking say they want to try to be a Navy SEAL? I'm at the worst spot of my life. Like, I can't even walk down the street, let alone run down the street. And I'm gonna now call a recruiter up and try to be a SEAL. There's a lot of power in that. But people don't see it there. They see, man, that's stupid. I had this voice in the back of my head that I kept on running from. I was afraid of water. I was afraid of dealing with things that made me feel unaccepted. I didn't accept myself. So I kept on going towards things that I felt good. Let me go this way, because something kept on saying, fuck you, you have it, man. You got it, man, but you're gonna have to fail a lot. But you have to. And like I said, that voice kept on haunting me, because that voice kept on saying, if you face it, you realize it's not that bad.
Persistence is self-discipline in action. Your ability to persist in the face of all setbacks and temporary failures is essential to success in life. Napoleon Hill said, persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel. The primary reason for success is persistence, and likewise the primary reason for failure is lack of persistence, quitting too soon. There is a direct link between self-discipline and self-esteem. Each time you discipline yourself to do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not, your self-esteem increases. This, why there is direct relationship between self-esteem and persistence. Each time you persist and force yourself to continue on, even when you feel like quitting, your self-esteem goes up. Each act of self-discipline strengthens every other act of self-discipline. Every act of persistence strengthens every other act of persistence. When you discipline yourself to persist over and over, you like and respect yourself more and more. You become stronger and more confident. Eventually, you become unstoppable. Persistence is its own reward. Every time you force yourself to persist on a task, whether it is large or small, you feel happier and better about yourself. When you go the extra mile and do more than you are paid for, or more than is expected, your self-esteem goes up. You feel more powerful and in greater control of your life. In your career, when you go the extra mile, you put yourself on the side of the angels. The primary difference between winners and losers in life is simple. Winners never quit, and quitters never win. Your ability to respond effectively to setbacks, your level of response, ability, is the measure of your readiness to succeed. When you experience a major setback or problem, you will feel temporarily stunned. This feeling is very much like a punch in the emotional solar plexus. You will be stopped for a few seconds or a few minutes. During this period, you will often feel discouraged or experience self-pity. You will say, why me? However, it is not how far you fall that counts, but rather how high you bounce. Your aim is to bounce back as quickly as possible. Resilience in the face of unexpected reversals is vital to long-term success. Remember the warrior's creed. I will lay me down to bleed a while and then rise and fight again. Don't be surprised, shocked, or set back when things go wrong. Your best laid plans will often fall apart. Instead, expect disappointments and setbacks as a part of life. Take a deep breath, pick up the pieces, and continue onward.
Work out every day. Better yourself every day. Suffer. Go back to a spot that's not so fucking comfortable for you. Just because you made it and you've arrived somewhere, and if that's your mentality, you're no longer a fucking mentor. Don't fucking mentor, motherfucker. If you're happy where you're at, take a few steps backwards and go back to where that one spot that made you. That spot that made me was that time on the couch and sitting with fucking chocolate milkshake, 297 pounds. I can't go back to 297, but I can go back to how that time felt, because that's when I was the hungriest. We lose the hunger and then we go into mentoring people. I'm mentoring you from a nice 72-degree temperature room. Everything is great. I'm making millions of fucking dollars and people are mentoring people. That's great. What did you do today to get uncomfortable? What did you do today to earn that manhood? What did you do today to mentor my fucking ass? What did you do today? I don't give a fuck what you did 20 fucking years ago. If you're not doing it now, stop mentoring a motherfucker. Retire. And say, hey young man, I don't know anymore. I'm now comfortable. You need to be in a spot that's hungry. It's a fucking thin line, man. I walked it. When I invented the accountability mirror, I walked it hardcore, and you have to walk it because we live in a world where you have to love yourself, and it's important to love yourself. I'm all about that. You gotta, but we also live in a world where if it helps me to help you, I help you. Some selfish motherfuckers. So yeah, back to your question. The accountability mirror is something that you have to be so real and raw, and you can't talk to yourself in a nice way. But you can't get so bad in that accountability mirror where you get it twisted and you start putting yourself down all the time. You gotta call yourself for what you are, but you also gotta give credit where credit's due in the accountability mirror also. So when I did the accountability, I was like fucking in high school when I did this shit, and I was a fucking character. I was a liar, I was a character, I was a cheat. It took several years to get out of that, man. I didn't know, and I hate to put ignorance on something, but when you're trying to literally invent a man out of nothing, you have a whole bunch of shit to go through, man. And I had a whole bunch of shit to go through, and it took a lot of years. I was the epitome of getting it done. I wasn't proud of how I got it done. I wanted to be proud of it. I wanted to earn. I wanted to earn how I got it done. Yeah. That was the thing, man. That's what bothered me. Back to the accountability mirror, you have to call yourself out for what you are. And at that time, I called myself out. But you also have to be careful for a lot of people getting this mentality of, we live in a world a lot of times now where people don't believe they're good enough ever. And they continuously talk about this, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm never gonna be good enough. If that's your accountability mirror, that's not how you do that. Call yourself out for who you are at that time. Be real with yourself, be honest. And then start to fix that and change. So the most important conversation is when you have yourself. You have to change that conversation. If you're a negative person and all you talk about is, I'm not good enough here, that person, that's not how that works. That accountability mirror has two sides to it. You call yourself out and you also start to have these small victories. The small victories, don't have this big grandiose, like, I want to be a Navy SEAL. Trust me, man, don't do what I did. I had very limited time to do what I did. So my accountability mirror became huge and grandiose. It's too much for the brain to comprehend. The brain can comprehend, if I had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months, which I did, that's too much. You quit doing that. I quit 100 times during the process. Just fucking look at it. If your goal is 106 pounds, be happy when you lose a fucking pound. Progress is always about moving forward, not moving back, not staying stagnant, moving forward, even if it's one small step at a time. I've been stretching out now for almost 6 years. I take all these steps back, but I see that I'm going forward. My body's trying to go forward. I've been patient and patient. I've been doing this for almost 6 years. I'm about to go back to Badwater 135. It's been since 2014 when I had to drop out for health issues. Could never get back to the start line. And guess what? Haven't shared this either. I went from running 205 miles in 39 hours to not being able to get out of bed. When I dropped out of Badwater, a couple months later, a few months later, I'm in my bed, not able to get out of my bed. The doctors couldn't figure anything out of me. Nothing. I sat in the bed and I smiled. I didn't put this in the book. And I went through it all. I said to myself, I'm gonna win Badwater. I couldn't even fucking walk. I couldn't get out of bed. 2014. And my mentality is, I'm gonna win fucking Badwater with it. And I swear to God, that's exactly what I thought. Versus laying in that fucking bed, thinking this is it. And I thought this was it. I thought that. How do you fucking get this sick, man? How the fuck is my body's shutting down? I'm all fucked up. What's going on? I've had 2 heart surgeries. What is wrong with my health? And I sat back after I calmed down. And I stepped back and I smiled. I'm in the bed. I said, you know what? This is it. You can win Badwater one day, brother.
Championship caliber people understand how to create momentum. They understand how to pull themselves out of the mud, out of the shit, and move themselves forward when they don't feel like it. They understand that creating momentum is very simply being able to force yourself through some things that you don't want to do for a few days in a row. Sometimes it might be 2 or 3. Sometimes it might be 14 or 15 or 16 days. But once you get through that period of time, you have now cultivated a tremendous amount of momentum. And championship caliber people understand how to do this. They understand how to exercise their discipline to make sure that they force themselves through the first gauntlet, so to speak, that they're going to have to get their lives in motion. And so this is something that they all understand. And all the people on that level get it, okay? They know how to take themselves from zero or even negative momentum and literally creep their way and force positive momentum. Now, if you completed 75 hard, you understand what I'm talking about. One of the biggest lessons of the Live Hard program is that you understand that after a certain amount of days that you've created the momentum. The momentum didn't just come from the sky and land on you and bless you with all this great feeling. That's not what happens. What happens is we create it through our actions. They learn what to do when they get stuck in the mud, okay? And most people don't. Most people get stuck in the mud and they stay there year after year after year after year. Once in a while, maybe every 4 or 5 years, they get lucky and catch some momentum. And then they spend, the next 3 years figuring out how the fuck that happened. Well, it's very simple. You created it. You created it because you exercised just enough discipline to pull yourself out, get yourself going, and you're mistaking your actions to create it as some sort of gift from the universe, which it's not. All right? So this is something that champions all understand. They understand how to manufacture momentum. They understand to not fuck with their momentum once they've created it. They don't intentionally do things to pull themselves off. They value the momentum, so they work to maximize it. Okay? Most people, when they get some momentum, what they do is they celebrate. And I'm just going to use the idea of diet and fitness here because I think most people will understand that. What they do is they go X amount, 6 days in a row or 5 days in a row, and they say, well, I need a reward. Motherfucker, you're making the most fundamental mistake ever be made in your life. You are killing your own momentum. You just worked 6 days to get your shit together, and now you're going to go out and jump right back into that life that you left 6 days ago that was making you miserable, which made you take action anyway. It makes no logical sense if you think about it. And champions think about this on a large scale, okay? It is the number one mistake that most people make is that when they have momentum, they sabotage it by thinking they need to reward themselves. Listen, motherfuckers, these people that live like you don't live, the people who aren't paying the price like you know you need to pay it, that's not the normal life. That's not what's going to bring you fulfillment. That's not what's going to bring you happiness. It hasn't so far, so why do you think it's going to? Why do you keep jumping back in the old fucking pond that's covered with moss and shit when you just discovered this clear blue sea that you get to swim in every motherfucking day?
I'm speaking to the people who want more, the people who want to be the fucking pinnacle, the people who want to be accomplished, the people who want to make a fucking difference. You guys are going to have to go all the fuck in.
Make a 100% commitment to give the best effort you've ever given to outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, outlast like never before.
One of the best quotes that I've ever read about it is that if you have real true freedom, you're never going to have equality of outcome. Because with real true freedom, you have the freedom to not engage. Well, look, if you look at a guy like Jeff Bezos, for instance, that Amazon guy is worth more money than anybody ever, right? That guy works all day. Yeah. I mean, he's a maniac. Oh, yeah. He's acquiring all these different companies and everything he's doing is designed to succeed. Yeah. I mean, he's just...
Well, that's what Gates just said, too, in a recent interview. And I know some guys that are, they're in approximately the same universe as those two, and they just work all the time.
That's all
the time. Yeah. And they don't just work. They work so efficiently and so effectively and make use of every second in ways you can't even imagine unless you're in that sort of position. So, and doing that doesn't mean that you will succeed, but not doing it certainly means that you will fail.
Well, not doing it certainly means you will never achieve that level of success.
Obsession is wanting something so bad that I go to bed with, I wake up to it, I make whatever sacrifice, I grind, I can't live without it. You gonna get anything, you will have to pay the price. There is a price tag to greatness. You will have to work for every single thing you get. And you gotta work every single day. You gotta wake up every day and work. We do not retreat. We do not give up. We do not surrender. And the reason why most of you are not successful is because every single time stuff not going your way, you give up, you quit, you let go, and people feel weakness. They feel it. You can feel when somebody's not committed, when they're not all in, when they're not dedicated. And there's another level you get to when you go all in. Look at your belief system every single day and stick with it. Don't rush the process. Trust the process. Don't rush the process. Trust the process. Don't rush the process. Trust the process. People who do stuff consistently and on time, they surpass people who talented and gifted.
You should never be satisfied with what you got. You should double your business. Triple it.
If you accomplish something good with hard work, the labor passes quickly, but the good endures. If you do something shameful in pursuit of pleasure, the pleasure passes quickly, but the shame endures.
So as you begin to look toward making this your decade, as you begin to look toward making your life different, as you begin to look at yourself, you've got to redefine yourself. Who are you right now? And who must you become in order to create what you want? What has to change about you? What is it that you're doing right now that would be a liability for you? As you begin to look toward the future and take inventory of yourself, what is it about you right now that you've got to leave this behind because this no longer fits? Looking at where you want to go and the kind of person that you must become, the kind of standards that you have for you, what is it that you must do different if you want to keep on getting what you're getting? Keep on doing what you're doing. It makes sense unless you change your pattern, unless you change the way you're thinking, unless you change your behavior, you're going to continue to produce the results in your life. See, all of us are winners, but some of us are producing results that we don't want. And so all you have to do is look at your game plan, look at your strategy. How is it that you have been being? What is it that you've been doing to produce this? So you're the director, you're the producer, you're writing the script, you're the star of your life. And as you begin to look at your life, you can decide whether or not it's a smash or whether or not it's a flop. That's in your hands. Look at your life, look at where you want to go. Don't worry about your circumstances. Don't worry about your age. I have a friend who's up in age, over 70, and she wanted to build a multi-million-dollar complex. Her name is Dr. Johnny Coleman. Lenders and bankers say, you can't do that, you're too old. She ignored them. That building now stands, ladies and gentlemen, a multi-million-dollar structure. But there are a lot of people who would have listened to that. There are a lot of people that would not have even gotten to that point. They would have talked themselves out of even going down to the bank to ask for it because they've already said no to themselves. See, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential, as opposed to saying no. See, 87% of our self-talk is negative. So you've got to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to say yes to your dreams. Why not? Why not me? Don't spend time like most people going through life complaining. Don't try and get on talk shows and tell everybody how life has done you wrong. Here's what's happening in the audience. 80% don't care. And 50% glad it's you. All right? So when you know that, you don't go around crying, oh, you know what they did to me. Who cares? Get away from me before they come back.
Even as the sun doth not wait for prayers and incantations to rise, but shines forth and is welcomed by all, so thou also wait not for clapping of hands and shouts of praise to do thy duty. Nay, do good of thine own accord, and thou wilt be loved like the sun. Above all, remember that the door stands open. Be not more fearful than children, but as they, when they weary of the game, cry, I will play no more. Even so, when thou art in the light case, cry, I will play no more and depart. But if thou stayest, make no lamentation. If you choose, you are free. If you choose, you need blame no man. Accuse no man. All things will be at once according to your mind and according to the mind of God. Withdraw into yourself as far as you can. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual. Men learn while they teach. Limiting one's desires actually helps to cure one of fear. Cease to hope, and you will cease to fear. Widely different as fear and hoping are, the two of them march in unison like a prisoner and the escort he is handcuffed to. Fear keeps pace with hope. Both belong to a mind in suspense, to a mind in a state of anxiety through looking into the future. Both are mainly due to projecting our thoughts far ahead of us instead of adapting ourselves to the present. I have learned to be a friend to myself, great improvement. This indeed, such a one can never be said to be alone. So know that he who is a friend to himself is a friend to all mankind. Wild animals run from the dangers they actually see, and once they have escaped them, worry no more. We, however, are tormented alike by what is past and what is to come. A number of our blessings do us harm. The memory brings back the agony of fear, while foresight brings it on prematurely. No one confines his unhappiness to the present, for the only safe harbor in this life's tossing, troubled sea is to refuse to be bothered about what the future will bring, and to stand ready and confident, squaring the breast to take without skulking or flinching whatever fortune hurls at it. Count your years, and you'll be ashamed to be wanting and working for exactly the same things as you wanted when you were a boy. Of this one thing make sure against your dying day, that your faults die before you do. Have done with those unsettled pleasures which cost one dear. They do one harm after they're past and gone, not merely when they're in prospect. Even when they're over, pleasures of a depraved nature are apt to carry feelings of dissatisfaction. In the same way as a criminal's anxiety, it doesn't end with the commission of the crime, even if it's undetected at the time. Such pleasures are insubstantial and unreliable. Even if they don't do one any harm, they're fleeting in character. Look around for some enduring good instead. And nothing answers this description except what the spirit discovers for itself within itself. A good character is the only guarantee of everlasting, carefree happiness. Even if some obstacle to this comes on the scene, its appearance is only to be compared to that of clouds which drift in front of the sun without ever defeating its light.
Tell me one thing in your life that is great that came as a result of being comfortable.
Most of us aren't defeated in one decisive battle. We are defeated one tiny, seemingly insignificant surrender at a time that chips away at who we should really be. It isn't that you wake up one day, decide, that's it, I'm going to be weak. No. It is a slow, incremental process. It chips away at our will. It chips away at our discipline.
Move out of your comfort zone. It's the courage to move into your zone of discomfort where you feel awkward and clumsy and sometimes alone. The comfort zone is one of the greatest enemies of human potential and of your potential.
The people that are really successful, they're not looking for comfort. They're looking for excitement. They're looking for potential. Give up this old idea, I just want to be comfortable. Quit lying to yourself. You know you seek more than comfort.
So understand that when you're trying to avoid the pain, when you're trying to avoid the struggle, when you're trying to avoid the hard things in life, you are actively choosing to be average. Start putting some pressure on. Put some pressure on yourself. Get out here and get about it.
Once you figure out that you're in a race amongst billions of people that live in this world, you're in a race by yourself. You have a purpose, and it's your purpose, not everybody else's purpose. It is your purpose and only your purpose, and it's your race.
That means you are persistently bigger than your excuses. You are persistently bigger than feeling lazy. And you are persistently beating the feelings that typically stop you.
Stop coming up with excuses. Don't give yourself permission to continue to live a small life. You can't fit a big dream into a small life. Give yourself permission to go for it, to test yourself, to challenge yourself, to live full.
When the sun comes up, you got all the books, you got all the tapes, you got all the access. Now it's time to hunt. And what separates you from everybody else is that when it's time to hunt, you're ready to hunt.
What I've come to appreciate when you're working on changing your life, changing some bad habit, getting out of addictive situations or relationships, or working to build a dream or making a difference in our society, it's hard.
There are going to be all kinds of challenges that we all must face. You cannot live in this world without a challenge. You cannot live in this world without a struggle.
Greatness is right on the other side of pain. So what are you running from it for? You say you want to be successful, then push through it. Stop making excuses and go get it.
The lack of self-discipline is the major cause of failure, frustration, underachievement, and unhappiness in life. It causes us to make excuses and sell ourselves short. Perhaps the two biggest enemies of success, happiness, and personal fulfillment are first the path of least resistance and second, the expediency factor. The path of least resistance is what causes people to take the easy way in almost every situation. They seek shortcuts to everything. They arrive at work at the last minute and leave at the first opportunity. They look for get rich, quick schemes and easy money. Over time, they develop the habit of always seeking an easier, faster way to get the things they want, rather than doing what is hard but necessary to achieve real success. The expediency factor, which is an extension of the law of least resistance, is even worse when leading people to failure and underachievement. This principle says people invariably seek the fastest and easiest way to get the things they want, right now, with little or no concern for the long-term consequences of their behavior. In other words, most people do what is expedient, what is fun and easy, rather than what is necessary for success. Every day, and every minute of every day, there is a battle going on inside of you between doing what is right, hard, and necessary, like the angel on one shoulder, or doing what is fun, easy, and of little or no value, like the devil on your other shoulder. Every minute of every day, you must fight and win this battle with the expediency factor and resist the pull of the path of least resistance if you truly desire to become everything you are capable of becoming.
And then when you see people take on more responsibility and decide that they're going to aim up and confront their suffering honestly and forthrightly, that their lives get better and the lives of people around them get better too. And so that's very strange as well, because it also means that the pathway to less suffering is through suffering, right? And that would be hopeful if the world was constituted that way. It's like, well, there's suffering. How do you make it worse? Run away. How do you make it better? Confront it. Yeah, but it's suffering. It's like, yeah, but it's there. There it is. It's right there. It's a precondition for existence or something like that. And it's like you have something important to do as well. And you confront it, and that's the pathway to transcending it.
We need to figure out, like, now, today, what is, the best way to live your life? What is the, there's got to be ways where you can be putting forth the most positive energy. I mean, we know objectively what's causing pollution. We know objectively what's causing birth defects and we're taking in too much chemicals and not enough vitamins. We know objectively all this stuff. We know how to organize our world, and yet we don't do it. We know how to organize our health, and yet very few people do it. We know all these things. The right path to, being a happy, healthy person is to do all the shit that we already know you're supposed to do. Take care of your body. Take care of your health. Take care of your mind, your stress. Meditate, be kind to people. We all know that. I mean, you ask anybody, they know how to get by and to be the most evolved version of you that you can be. I mean, it's not like a magical checklist. If you talk to people about it, you said, okay, here you got a person, you want to improve them. What are the things you're going to do to them? Okay, well, if I was a life coach, the first thing I would say is this guy's got to get on a diet that makes him healthy. I don't mean a diet just to lose weight. I mean just healthy foods in your body. Many, many vegetables. Start working out your body and get a better sense of how this machine feels when it's moving, it's flowing better, there's less tension in it, your mind feels relaxed and you enjoy every single moment of the day better. Step one, everybody knows that step, right? What's step two? Be cool to people. Be nice to as many people as you can. Smile at as many people as you can. Have them smile back at you. Tip well when you go to restaurants. Just do the most you can. Be as nice as you can and just still manage to not have people walk all over you. Just get through this life as nice as you can.
The average human is capable of unbelievable improvement. That's the thing that's my superpower. I don't think I'm special. I just realized in looking at the science that humans actually are capable of this incredible amount of change. It is the strategy that our species took to be able to pass knowledge on through culture rather than having to have everything be instincts. And in having that layer where we can drink in the culture and read books and learn from other people. And, even now we're all learning from things that people thought thousands of years ago and wrote down. Like, it's insane. It travels through to you, and all of that wisdom stored in culture, so that as your parents are teaching you things, they're actually encapsulating a ton of the wisdom that is endured, whether it's endured from religion or books or whatever. Like, you're bathed in a culture that is giving you all of this incredible information. And so recognizing how powerful and potent that is incredibly meaningful. But you have to understand that you have to allow yourself to believe that you can learn from that culture in the same way that everybody else can. And that's what you're designed to do. Now, for me, that completely gave me the confidence, and I put confidence in air quotes because it's not like I believe something specific about myself. I just believed that the human animal is capable of this extraordinary change. And so now I just needed to point myself in that direction. Now, this is the key. Once I realized that I could get better at anything, it dawned on me that how I spend my time is a spiritual consideration. And I didn't want to die with potential that I failed to turn into skill set. That, to me, that speaks to me. How much of my potential can I actually turn into skill set and get good at this stuff and push and grow and improve? Like, that to me is just this incredibly intoxicating. So, for me, the discipline, the confidence, all of that comes from recognizing the human animal. Nothing special about me. The human animal is capable of extraordinary change. I'm going to have to put time and energy doing it, but I'm capable of getting this change. Therefore, I can do anything I set my mind to. Therefore, it really matters what I choose to spend my time on. Therefore, I want to put structure and discipline in my life so that I can move forward on things that excite me, that matter to me, because I really can have this big, crazy dream that I'm thinking of. So my discipline is really born of my desire to have that thing, coupled with my belief that I can actually get there. Desire and belief. Get those two things right, and the discipline will take care of itself.
I went to college. I went and worked out 5 hours a day, and I was working on construction because in those days in bodybuilding, there was no money. I didn't have the money for food supplements or anything. So I had to go to work. So I worked on construction. I went to college. I worked out in the gym, and at night from 8 o'clock at night to 12 midnight, I went to acting class 4 times a week. So I did all of that. There was not one single minute that I wasted. And this is why I'm standing here today. With the age of 20, I went to London and I won the Mr. Universe contest as the youngest Mr. Universe ever. And it was because I had a goal. You see, if you don't have a vision of where you go, and if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and you never end up anywhere. 74% hate their job in America. The majority of people don't like what they're doing because they're really not doing it because they didn't have a goal and they followed this goal. They just aimlessly drift around, and then all of a sudden there's a job opening, so they get that job because you have to work. But then when you work, it's a chore. It's work. It's not fun. So if you think about only a quarter of the people really enjoy what they're doing in life. So people always ask me, when they saw me in the gym in the pumping iron days, they say, why is it that you're working out so hard? 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, and you have always a smile on your face. The others are working out just as hard as you do, and they look sour in the face. Why is that? And I told people all the time, I said, because to me, I am shooting for gold. In front of me is the Mr. Universe title. So every rep that I do gets me closer to accomplishing that goal, to make this goal, this vision turn into reality. Every single set that I do, every repetition, every weight that I lift will get me a step closer to turn this goal into reality. So I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound squat. I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound bench press. I couldn't wait to do another 2,000 reps of sit-ups. I couldn't wait for the next exercise. So let me tell you something, visualizing your goal and going after it makes it fun. You've got to have a purpose no matter what you do in life. You've got to have a purpose. And Muhammad Ali worked his butt off. And I saw it firsthand. And I remember that there was a sports writer that was there in the gym when he was working out and he was doing sit-ups. And they asked him, how many sit-ups do you do? And he said, I don't start counting until it hurts. Now think about that. He doesn't start counting his sit-ups until he feels pain. That's when he starts counting. That is working hard. And so you can't get around the hard work. It doesn't matter who it is. Work your ass off. There is no magic pill. There is no magic out there. You cannot get around. You have to work and work and work. Make sure of this and make sure of that and all that stuff. So it's work. And it drives me crazy when people say that they don't have enough time to go to the gym for 45 minutes a day and work out. Or to do something for 45 minutes to an hour a day to improve. If it is physically improve or if it is mentally to improve. Imagine you read 1 hour a day about history. How much you will learn after 365 hours in 1 year. Think about if you study about the history of musicians, of composers, how much you would know. Imagine if you would work on a business, on some business that you want to develop every day for an hour. Imagine how further along you will go and get. So it drives me nuts because when people say we don't have the time, we have 24 hours a day. We sleep 6 hours a day, so that gives you still 18 hours. Now there's someone shaking their head out here in front to say probably, I don't sleep 6 hours, I sleep 8 hours, right? Or just sleep faster. So we have 18 hours a day. The average person works around 8 to 10 hours. So let's assume it's 10 hours, so we have 8 hours left. Then you travel around an hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day. So now you have still 6 hours left. So what do you do with the 6 hours? What do you do with the 6 hours? Then we eat a little bit, then we schmooze a little bit, talk a little bit to people and all that stuff. But you can see how much time there is available if you organize your day. So you got to work hard. I hate Plan B. And I tell you why. Because we have so many doubters, as I've said earlier, the no-sayers. We have so many of those people that say no and you can't do it, it's impossible. That is okay because we just turn off, as I said earlier, and we listen and we hear the no being a yes. You can't do it, you can't do it, and all of that. So that is possible to do that amongst all the negative people around you. But when you start doubting yourself, that's very dangerous. Because now what you're basically saying is that if my plan doesn't work, I have a fallback plan. I have a plan B. And that means that you start thinking about plan B, and every thought that you put into plan B, you're taking away now that thought and that energy from plan A. And it's very important to understand that we function better if there is no safety net, because plan B becomes a safety net. It says that if I fail, then I fall and I get picked up and I have something else there that will protect me. And that's not good, because people perform better when there's no safety net. People perform better in sports and everything else if you don't have a plan B. I'm telling you, I've never ever had a plan B. I made a full commitment that I'm going to go and be a bodybuilding champion. I made a full commitment that I'm going to be in America. I made a full commitment that I'm going to get into show business. and I'm going to be a leading man no matter what it takes. I will do the work. I will do the work over and over and over until I get it. And the same was in politics and everything like that. So to me, it is very dangerous to have a plan B because you're cutting yourself off from the chance of really succeeding. And the reason, one of the main reasons why people want to have a plan B is because they are worried about failing. What is if I fail, then I don't have anything else? Well, let me tell you something. Don't be afraid of failing because there's nothing wrong with failing. You have to fail in order to climb that ladder. There's no one that doesn't fail. Michael Jordan said in one of his interviews, when they said, "You are unbelievable, you're the greatest basketball player of all times." I mean, tell me about that. And he says, well, you're just mentioning the successes. But he says, for me to become the greatest basketball player, I missed 9,000 shots when I was playing basketball at the NBA games. So during these games that he was so successful, he missed 9,000 shots. Does it make him a failure? No. He's one of the greatest basketball players of all times, but he failed 9,000 times. Do you get it? We all fail. It's okay. What is not okay is that when you fail, you stay down. Whoever stays down is a loser. And winners will fail and get up. Fail and get up. Fail and get up. You always get up. That is a winner. That is a winner. I failed in bodybuilding. I lost bodybuilding competitions. I lost powerlifting competitions. I lost weightlifting competitions. I had movies that went in the toilet and that were terrible and got the worst reviews. And in politics, I remember I had many of the initiatives on the ballot and we lost. My approval rating in California went down to 28%, and then it went back up again, and they won again the governorship. Hey, we all lose. We all have losses. This is okay, and this is why I say don't be worried about losing, because when you're afraid of losing, then you get frozen. You get stiff. You're not relaxed. You got to be, in order to perform well in anything, if it's in boxing or if it is on your job or with your thinking, is only happening when you relax. So relax. It's okay to fail. Let's just go all out and give it everything that you got. That's what it is all about. So don't be afraid to fail.
I consider my next guest a really, really great friend of mine. We met on the road a while back. He was doing plays. Yeah. I was doing comedy. And so we met a long time ago. And he has become my main man behind my boys' mentoring program for the Stephen Marjorie Harvey Foundation. Check him out in action. Good is coming, ready or not.
Stand up and start working harder now. This is an opportunity for you to learn something. We are pouring power into you. My purpose is to mentor young men and change their lives.
You know what success is? When you're accomplishing something that you're really trying to achieve.
Action. Education. Purpose. One fact. Two fact. You got to want to do it. We understand what you've gone through because we've been there. So what in the world, get yourself to be who you want to be. Got it? Do what it takes to be the best you. You're going to have one life. What you going to do?
Folks, his new book, Manhood 101, is all about helping moms who are raising young men. Please welcome my man, Frank Holler. You know, hey, Frank, now, man, when me and you first met, I could tell, man, that you weren't living your dream, man, but the things changed over time. Take us back to that time.
Well, Steve, we was at the Nokia Theater when I first opened up singing Fire and Desire by Rick James and Tina Marie.
Yeah, boy, I remember.
I was opening up backstage, you know, warming up. And so you started watching me rehearse. Yeah. So one day you came up and knocked on my door, and we really hadn't had a lot of dialogue together. But you knocked on the door. When you opened up the door, I was surprised to see you say, hey, man, I've been watching you rehearsing today. you're not singing from your soul. You're a soul singer. And I was like, well, man, this ain't what I want to do. He said, well, what do you want to do, Frank? I said, well, man, I'm a football coach. And I've sung, I've signed with Motown before, but that's just not my passion anymore. You said, well, tell you what, man, I got a boys mentoring program. I would like for you to come out and help. And man, you just don't know. That was a dream come true to mention and mentor young men. Yeah.
Frank, tell us about your new book, Manhood 101.
Well, man, you know, like we talk about, we get thousands of participants that or applications that come in. We get thousands of them. But we can't get to them all. As passionate as I am about working with them, we can't get to them all. But what I found out is, as much as we put into our boys, we have to put into the mothers and empower them. Because the boys are a product of their environment. If we give these boys all of this stuff that we're teaching them to show them manhood principles, and they don't get anything, they go back to what they were doing. And sometimes the mama just don't know. Right. Because if he blowing past your rules now, in your house, he goes out here and blow past rules in the world. Right. So, I've dedicated a lot of time, man, in seeing these principles work. From me and my mother and the things that she shared with me. I didn't want to play football. She said, you gonna play. Because she put me around men who had structure and value. We can't do it by ourselves. The mamas can't do it by themselves. So I got principles in that book and experiences that a mom can take, and it's going to change their life. I've been seeing it happen. It happened with me, and it's happening with boys across this country and moms.
Yeah. It's important. This man right here has some great information, but this book will help a lot of single mothers with boys. A lot of coping skills is in this book. Special thanks to Frank and his family. You can get Frank's book, Manhood 101, A Single Mother's Guide to Raising a Son, on his website, frankharlem.com, and everybody in the audience is going home with a copy.
I was like, well, man, this ain't what I want to do. He said, well, what do you want to do, Frank? I said, well, man, I'm a football coach. And I've sung, I've signed with Motown before, but that's just not my passion anymore. You said, well, tell you what, man, I got a boys mentoring program. I would like for you to come out and help. And man, you just don't know. That was a dream come true to mention and mentor young men. Yeah.
Frank, tell us about your new book, Manhood 101.
Well, man, you know, like we talk about, we get thousands of participants that or applications that come in. We get thousands of them. It's something that you're really trying to achieve.
Action, education, purpose. One clap, two clap. You got to want to do it. We understand what you're going through because you did that. So out in the world and get yourself to be who you want to be. Got it? Do what it takes to be the best you. You only have one life. What you gonna do?
Folks, his new book, Manhood 101, is all about helping moms who are raising young men. Please welcome my man, Frank Harlem.
But we can't get to them all. As passionate as I am about working with them, we can't get to them all. But what I found out is, as much as we put into our boys, we have to put into the mothers and empower them. Because the boys are a product of their environment. If we give these boys all of this stuff that we're teaching them to show them manhood principles, and they don't get anything, they go back to what they were doing. And sometimes the mama just don't know. Right. Because if he blowing past your rules now, in your house, he goes out here and blow past rules in the world. Right. So, I've dedicated a lot of time now in seeing these principles work.
I consider my next guest a really, really great friend of mine. We met on the road a while back. We was doing plays. I was doing comedy, so we met a long time ago. And he has become my main man behind my boys' mentoring program for the Stephen Marjorie Harvey Foundation. Check him out in action.
Good is coming, ready or not.
Stand up and start working harder now. This is an opportunity for you to learn something. We are pouring power into you. My purpose is to mentor young men and change their lives. You know what success is? When you accomplish it.
You know, hey Frank, now man, when me and you first met, I could tell, man, that you weren't living your dream, man, but things changed over time. Take us back to that time.
Well, Steve, we was at the Nokia Theater when I first opened up singing Fire and Desire by Rick James and Tina Marie.
Yeah, boy, I remember that.
I was opening up backstage, you know, warming up. And so you started watching me rehearse.
Yeah.
So one day you came up and knocked on my door, and we really hadn't had a lot of dialogue together. But you knocked on the door. When you opened up the door, I was surprised to see you. Say, hey, man, I've been watching you rehearsing today. You're not singing from your soul. You're a soul singer.
Why is the truth so important?
You have to have the truth to have a starting point. And your true self is found in that very uncomfortable zone. We all look for toughness. We all want it. But we look for it in a comfortable environment. You will not find toughness in a comfortable environment. Those of you who are listening to this, you will not find it. The only way you find it is to drown yourself in a position where you're just out of sorts, where you can't swim and you're drowning. Where you're drowning. When you say, you know what, ma'am? That. Once you come face to face with who you are, you have a starting point. It's in our head saying, you know what, man? Dude, you're not doing shit. You're wasting a bunch of percentage here. In this other 80% is suffering, pain, failure, self-doubt, darkness, and then a whole bunch of light. But to get to this light, you got to go through all of this shit.
You're not succeeding. You're not achieving. It's because you're afraid to go in that dark place to find yourself. You're setting goals you know you can reach. And when you do that, that fear, that insecurity, that doubt, that's where you grow. You must always set goals that you think you cannot achieve. And then there you get better.
When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, this is what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, the amount of mental pain, of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go.
Every day, you must ask yourself, did I do enough?
And then once you do this over and over and over again, it becomes like breathing. I don't want to live this lifestyle, but to get to the other side of this, I have to. So if you really want it, you realize what trying is and what trying is not. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Once you put away your phones and your computers and all that shit we have nowadays, your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through death, real life shit. You can't Google that shit, man. You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to, you may have a best friend you're going to, but there's 24 hours in the day where you're alone in this brain, and your brain is talking to you in all kind of ways, and it wants to control you and pull you in these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain and your brain controls you, you're fucked. You got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over. So all I knew back then was hard work. You got to work hard. You got to work hard. I can't get this paragraph. I can't remember what the fuck's in this paragraph to pass this test to get in the military. Read it again. Still not getting it. Read it again. But if not getting it, write it out. And that's how I started learning. I realized if I keep going back and going back and going back until the shit just becomes, your mind will say, fuck, okay, we're going to figure it out.
It'll find a way.
Because he is not going to stop. It's not like, I'm going to try one more time. No. Alarm clock goes off, boop. We're going back. I can't read right. We're going back. I gave myself no way out, and my mind realized that. They said, okay, we're going to adapt and overcome now. That was my mindset. And that's how you get through things. You put yourself, you immerse yourself wherever it is, and you become that. I became hell. And that became my new norm. I gave myself no way out. There was nothing outside these walls of hell. Nothing. I watched this segment on TV about these guys going through Navy SEAL training. And I couldn't even, I wasn't a great swimmer. I was afraid of the water, all this crap, man. I saw these guys just quitting. But at the very end, it says 22 guys. This commanding officer's up there and he gives this great speech. So I started visualizing me being the 23rd guy, sitting there with these guys. I said, man, if I could feel that, that would change my life.
And what was that feeling you wanted so bad? Respect? Accomplishment?
No. Victory. I wanted to win. Not like beat somebody else. It wasn't about that. I just wanted to go the distance. Everything in my life, when something got hard, I quit. I had to work harder than you. So I quit. Like, man, if I could just go that distance, that extra mile, to just go, just to finish. I want to finish. I want to feel victory. And victory for me wasn't winning. It was just finishing. So I said, you know what? If I could feel like these guys feel, it would change my life. And literally, I started feeling victory just by putting myself in the battle. I started realizing, man, just by going to war with myself every day and putting these challenges and these goals and these obstacles, these insurmountable obstacles, now we can move from there. But if you look at it as, man, I'm broken and I'm still here and I'm fighting and I'm going to find a way to get through this because I have no other place to go. It gives you a lot of power, and no one really finds themselves without going through trials, tribulations, suffering, accountability. And accountability is suffering. Being accountable every fucking day for doing right for yourself, for the people next to you, it's miserable. The more I did this, the more I gained confidence. And then the more I gained confidence, the more I realized, fuck these Navy SEALs, man. These guys can't do what I'm doing right now. I had no coach, had no trainer, had no money. I didn't know how to lose weight. I had no knowledge of what I was doing. I was just working. I was just sacrificing. But I would have never found these tools if I didn't put myself in a very uncomfortable place. And your true self is found in that very uncomfortable zone. That's where he came from. He came from all these fucked up obstacles. And now he's there. So everybody goes, how do you do that? You know exactly how to do that. We all have two people. And I'm not saying you're crazy. We have the easy voice. That's that voice that we all love. That's that very comfortable voice that's that mommy holding you saying it's going to be okay. Doesn't care how good you are. Just loves you. Just loves you no matter how messed up you are in life. So that's that one voice. This other voice that we walk very far away from is a voice saying, hey man, you ain't doing shit. So we try to get this voice out of our head completely. And we live over here in this land. So what you have to do first is turn up this voice over here. The voice saying things to you that aren't nice. That it's in our head saying, you know what, man, dude, you're not doing shit. I'm not saying to put yourself down. I'm saying listen to the truth. And the truth isn't in the 20%. The truth is in this other part of your brain saying, look, man, you're wasting a bunch of percentage here. We have 80 more percent that we're not tapping into because in this other 80% is suffering, pain, failure, self-doubt, darkness, and then a whole bunch of light. But to get to this light, you got to go through all of this. So a lot of us know that. I can get over here, but over here, man, this is much better because I got to go through this journey that is not fun. This from 20 to 100%, this shit in between is not fun. So we decide to live over here. So everybody goes, how do you do that? You know exactly how to do that. You know exactly. It's not a magic trick. There's nothing I talk about that's a magic trick. It's all back down to a very primitive mindset of we just have to do. It's like breathing. Breathing becomes normal. Like we didn't know that we're doing it. That's how you have to live your life. When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, this is what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, I'm not saying physical, I'm not saying you got to break yourself off, the amount of mental pain of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. When I was 297 pounds and I was fat as hell trying to be a Navy SEAL, the scariest thing in the world to me, even to this day, was that could have been the rest of my life. I thought then I was trying hard. That's the scariest thing in the world. I thought then, 297 pound, working for Ecolab, spraying for cockroaches, making $1,000 a month. I thought that was me at my 100% potential. Come to find out, a few years later, I wasn't anywhere near that. 106 pounds less, graduate Navy SEAL training, went on to do all these other things. Looking back on that, that was me trying hard. That's why people gotta understand, what is in us, we have no idea until we start trying hard. And I mean really trying hard, where you're obsessed with, hey, this is my new norm. My new norm is that, wow, this isn't always fun. It's not always meant to be fun. And that's when you know you're trying hard.
Is that, and so people listen to us that maybe are at 20% or 30%, you know, about, yeah, I'm going hard, I'm going max, and yet they're not seeing the results. Like, how do they actually shake themselves out of that? We're all in a battle with our own brains. That's
all
life.
of us.
That's all life is.
It's the most powerful thing in the world, is your own brain. It can work for you or against you.
And as opposed to focusing on all those bad things that happened, all the things you didn't have, the people that called you names, all the stuff in Brazil again, and you start thinking, wait a second, I just visualized this, and now I can take it to the next level, because the visualization got you through SEAL.
It did. And I was able to visualize the end. So when I was 297, and I was all fat and out of shape, and I couldn't run a quarter mile, and I was drinking milkshakes and eating boxes of donuts, I visualized, man, how would it feel? For a brief moment, there was 22 guys that graduated. I watched this segment on TV about these guys going through Navy SEAL training. And I couldn't even, I wasn't a great swimmer, I was afraid of the water, all this crap, man. But at the very end, it says 22 guys, this commanding officer's up there, and he gives this great speech. I was like, man, I wonder. So I started visualizing me being the 23rd guy in these dress whites, sitting there with these guys, getting that Navy SEAL, you know, graduating this Navy SEAL training. I was like, God. So I put myself there. I was like, man, that's an amazing feeling. I put myself there at 297, not even able to do anything that these great men were doing. I said, man, if I could feel that would change my life. I could just feel that. It lasts for 1 second. You get that certificate, you walk across the stage, and what's next? But I didn't know that then. My mind wasn't in, I thought I lived in that moment forever. So I said, wow, man, if I could just feel like that. If I could feel like that.
And what was that feeling you wanted so bad? Respect?
No. Victory. I wanted to win. Not like beat somebody else. It wasn't about that. I just wanted to go the distance. Everything in my life, when something got hard, I quit. If it was reading, that's where, you know, I wasn't great at reading. I wasn't great at writing, so I just quit. I couldn't catch on as fast as you. I had to work harder than you, so I quit. You know, I wasn't great at things, so I quit. You know, I'm not good at this. Like, man, if I could just go that distance, that extra mile, to just go, just to finish. I want to finish. I want to feel victory. And victory for me wasn't winning, it was just finishing. So I said, you know what? If I could feel like these guys feel, it would change my life. But what I realized, the best feeling I had was when I was by myself trying to lose this weight. I had to lose it in literally less than 3 months. 106 pounds in less than 3 months. And literally, I started feeling victory just by putting myself in the battle. It wasn't about going to Navy SEAL training. It wasn't about being the 23rd guy in that chair. I started realizing, man, just by going to war with myself every day and putting these challenges and these goals and these obstacles, these insurmountable obstacles. So it wasn't about losing 106 pounds. Me losing 5 pounds was an accomplishment. Me losing 10 pounds and then 50 pounds. And then the more I did this, the more I gained confidence. And then the more I gained confidence, the more I realized these guys can't do what I'm doing right now. I had no coach, had no trainer, had no money. I didn't know how to lose weight. I had no knowledge of what I was doing. I was just working. I was just sacrificing. And then through that, all these different tools started coming up. But I would have never found these tools if I didn't put myself in a very uncomfortable place. We all look for toughness. We all want it, but we look for it in a comfortable environment. You will not find toughness in a comfortable environment. Those of you who are listening to this, whoever hear this, you will not find it.
We go the direction we face. If you start designing something at the end of this direction, sure enough, you will start going the direction you face. And we face the direction we design. Direction determines destination. Destination is not determined by hope. It's not determined by wish. Destination is determined by direction. You cannot change destination overnight. But here's what you can change today, and overnight, you can change direction.
This is the time for you to wake up and realize that there's something that you need to be doing. But you don't need to be doing excuses. You don't need to be so complacent and lazy about what it is that you are constantly going through in your life and giving your life less than giving your life more. Why do you socialize yourself with excuses? Why do you socialize yourself with misery? Why do you socialize yourself with being complacent? What are you afraid of? Oh, I get it. You're afraid to fail. You're afraid to go back. No one said you had to go back. All you got to do is keep pushing forward. You may fall a few times. You may slip a few times, but that doesn't mean you quit. That doesn't mean you give up. That means you must find a way and you must make a way. You got to continue to dig deeper than you've ever digged in your life. Enough is enough. Enough with the excuses. Enough of being complacent. Enough of giving up.
You have control over your mind. You just have to assert it. You have to decide that you are going to be in control, that you are going to do what you want to do. Weakness doesn't get a vote. Laziness doesn't get a vote. Everyone wants some life hack that eliminates the need to do the work, but that does not exist. No, you have to do the work. You've got to hold the line. You've got to make it happen.
Successful people love the experience of not feeling like doing but then going and kicking ass anyway. They understand that those are the real victories in life. They understand that it's easy to do when you feel like doing, but they also understand that the real magic, the real glory is earned when your heart is not into something, but your mind tells you, I'm going to do that anyway, and does it.
It's you. You've got to take personal responsibility. You've got to make it your personal business to make it happen. And you've got to resolve within yourself that I can do this, that it's hard. But you've got to say, I'm the one. I'm the one to make this happen. I'm the one to become successful in this business. As you work to help other people to become successful, that feeds your success. But you know it's going to be hard, but find out what will make it worth it for you. Most people go through life never discovering what their talents are. Most people never develop their talents. They have skills and abilities, but if you don't nurture them, if you don't develop them, they will never serve you. Your gifts can take you many places if you develop your gifts. Most of us don't like to do those things that come easy to us. I've always loved to talk to people. I decided, taking this advice, to develop my skills as a speaker. And my gift has developed and it's taken me many places. You have something that you brought to the universe. And that if you decide that my life deserves my developing this, what I do well, and becoming the best at it, and mastering myself, and seeing what I have within me, if you decide to drop your buckets where you are and develop your gifts, I grant you, you'll never ever be without. I grant you that your gifts will take you places that will literally amaze you. I grant you that if you begin to work to develop your gifts, you'll develop a strong sense of happiness. You'll get a larger vision of yourself, because part of beginning to get a larger vision of yourself, all of us need some area of our lives where we can have a feeling of competence.
You have to have just one thing in mind: keeping on track, closing out all the noise and the clutter that gets in your way. You've got to identify your target. Let nothing stand in your way. You've got to keep your eye on the target until you've released the arrow. Let nothing capture your attention unless it's in the best interest of your ambition. If you don't keep your mind on what you're doing, if you don't keep focused on the task at hand, it could slip right on by you. Wherever you are, be there. Whatever you're supposed to be doing for the moment, do it. You can't be thinking of everything you have to do at one time, all the time. You have to concentrate on just one thing at a time, one project, one job. You have to take it one task at a time and complete it. Do what you've set out to do. Keep your mind only on that one task. Why? If you don't, you won't accomplish anything. Concentration takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of discipline to demand privacy, to keep the do not disturb sign on your door while you're in the middle of an important job. It takes a lot of discipline not to answer the phone every time it rings at home. That's why they make voicemail and answering machines, so you don't have to answer the phone every time it rings. Your family will appreciate an uninterrupted dinner hour. Your night work will get done a whole lot faster. Concentrate on the work at hand and demand of yourself the discipline to stay focused. If you have a long list of things to get done within a day, do the toughest ones while your concentration is at its peak. When you're at work, be at work. When you're in a conference, be in that conference. When you're at your kid's school play or soccer game or dance recital, be there. Don't let your mind wander. Stay focused. Stay focused on the task at hand or the company you're with. Don't let your mind wander during conversations. You never know what important points you'll miss. Stay focused. Stay true to where you are and what you're doing. Use your discipline to keep your mind in line. When you recognize the need to concentrate more, when you recognize this need, and when you discipline yourself to stay focused, it will come easier and easier. Focused concentration can be learned. Focused concentration can become a habit. If you work on it a little every day, the easier it comes, the less energy you'll waste on making your mind mind you. Make your mind pay attention. Discipline yourself to be where you are. Work at work and play at play. Don't mix the two. Concentrate. Give your job the attention it deserves. Give your family the attention they deserve. Give your colleagues the attention they deserve. Wherever you are, be there. Concentrate.
Pay attention to your motivations, be honest. Practice coming from a place of integrity and you will be victorious. Always do your best. There's no faster way to fall prey to outside input than when you're feeling insecure. And there's no better way to feel insecure than knowing you half-ass something or don't really believe in what you're doing. No matter what it is, raising your prices or raising your children, if you do the absolute best you possibly can and come from a place of integrity, then you can be proud of yourself and not give a damn what anyone else thinks. Find a temporary role model, find a mentor or a hero or a role model. Get clear on why this person is impressive and inspiring to you, and when faced with a challenge that leaves you guessing how to react, ask yourself, what would my hero do? Not caring what others think is a muscle that can take some time to build up. So use this trick while you're still getting strong, and before you know it, you'll be able to ditch your hero and start asking yourself, what would I do? Take the first right step instead of wasting hours and days and years trying to figure out your perfect next move. Just do something already. All the time we waste rolling ideas around in our heads, imagining what ifs, coming up with perfect reasons why, and then perfect reasons why not. Tearing at our cuticles, making our friends and family carefully screen their calls in case it's us again. Wanting to go over some idea. Get out of your head and take action. You don't have to know exactly where it's going to take you. You just need to start with one thing that feels right and keep following right, feeling things and see where they lead. Most answers reveal themselves through doing, not thinking.
Life is not just the passing of time. Life is not just the passing of time. Life is a collection of experiences, their frequency, and their intensity. Life is not just watching the clock tick away. Life is a collection of experiences, their intensity, their frequency.
You've got to let go and let it happen. Because if you don't, you're going to be all clutched up. You're going to be constantly trying to do what can happen healthily only if you don't try. Existence, the physical universe, is basically playful. There is no necessity for it whatsoever. It isn't going anywhere. That is to say, it doesn't have some destination that it ought to arrive at. Same way dancing. You don't aim at a particular spot in the room. That's where you should arrive. The whole point of the dancing is the dance.
But I've learned the greatest challenge of life is knowing when to break with conventional wisdom. Don't just accept the world you inherit today. Don't just accept the status quo. No big challenge has ever been solved and no lasting improvement has ever been achieved unless people dares to try something different. Dare to think different.
I don't tell people that they're okay the way they are. No, I say, no, you could be way more than you are. And they're relieved about that, you see, because if you're in a dark and terrible place and someone says you're okay the way you are, then you don't know what to do about that. No, I'm not. I'm having a terrible time and I'm hopeless. You're okay the way you are. Well, then what? That's it? That's where I am? And what do you want to tell a young person? You're 17. You're okay the way you are. It's like, no, you're not. You got 60 years to be better. And you could be way better. You could be incomparably better across multiple dimensions. And in pursuing that better, that's where you'll find meaning in your life. And that will give you the antidote to the suffering.
You gotta have heart. When you're making these moves, when you're going to work, when you executing these dreams, you're doing this for your life. And it ain't nothing more valuable than that. So have your heart when it's time to accept those challenges.
Next step, ask yourself, what's blocking you? What's preventing you from acting? Why don't you have the courage to handle that? Why won't you face that? What are you running away from? What kind of avoidance behavior are you engaged in?
And so my question to us is this. Every single day in every aspect of our lives and the things we're privileged to do and the people we're connected to, when the situation or the moment does not go our way, because we all know what to do when it goes right. But when God says no, who will you be? But most importantly, who's watching you and who can be blessed by the opposition, the adversity, and the challenge that you're facing? Every day of the week, I think we're tasked to make this world a better place. Let's never forget why we exist and why we do what we do every single day. Let's never take this thing for granted and think that alarm clock wakes us up.
If you look at life as it is a trial ground, a testing ground for where you need to belong, where you need to go, suffering is a fact of life. And if you look at suffering the right way, it's a great tool to callous your mind. If you look at it as suffering, woe is me, this is bullshit, God, kicking rocks. If you look at it like, okay, testing me now. I get it. Whenever I'm being like depressed, I go through depressed moments, I go, oh, hang on. I'm getting tested. So you have to be aware of all the signals and signs that are being given to you from the world. One of them is if you feel bad, you're being tested. How are you going to perform under that? And that's suffering is a part of life.
That time is now. It will always be now. It's time to add your brick to the path of progress. It's time for all of us to move forward. And it's time for you to lead the way.
You'll go for it until you understand. You'll practice it until you develop the skill. Never give up until, however long that is. Step by step, piece by piece, book by book, go for it. Don't miss the chance to grow. And resolve that you'll pay the price until you learn, change, grow, become. Then you'll discover some of life's best treasures when you pay that
We all have two people. And I'm not saying you're crazy. We have the easy voice. That's that voice that we all love. That's that very comfortable voice that's that mommy holding you saying it's going to be okay. Doesn't care how good you are, just loves you. Just loves you no matter how messed up you are in life. So that's that one voice. This other voice that we walk very far away from is the voice saying, hey man, you ain't doing shit. So we try to get this voice out of our head completely. And we live over here in this land. So what you have to do first is turn up this voice over here. The voice saying things to you that aren't nice. That it's in our head saying, you know what, man, dude, you're not doing shit. I'm not saying to put yourself down. I'm saying listen to the truth. And the truth isn't in the 20%. The truth is in this other part of your brain saying, look, man, you're wasting a bunch of percentage here. We have 80 more percent that we're not tapping into because in this other 80% is suffering, pain, failure, self-doubt, darkness, and then a whole bunch of light. But to get to this light, you got to go through all of this. So a lot of us know that. I can get over here, but over here, man, this is much better because I got to go through this journey that is not fun. This from 20 to 100%, this shit in between is not fun. So we decide to live over here. So everybody goes, how do you do that? You know exactly how to do that. You know exactly. It's not a magic trick. There's nothing I talk about that's a magic trick. It's all back down to a very primitive mindset of we just have to do. It's like breathing. Breathing becomes normal. Like we don't know that we're doing it. That's how you have to live your life. When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, it's just what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, I'm not saying physical. I'm not saying you got to break yourself off. The amount of mental pain of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. When I was 297 pounds and I was fat as hell trying to be a Navy SEAL, the scariest thing in the world to me, even to this day, was that could have been the rest of my life. I thought then I was trying hard. That's the scariest thing in the world. I thought then, 297 pounds, working for Ecolab, spraying for cockroaches, making $1,000 a month. I thought that was me at my 100% potential. Come to find out, a few years later, I wasn't anywhere near that. 106 pounds less, graduate Navy SEAL training, went on to do all these other things. Looking back on that, that was me trying hard. That's why people got to understand what is in us. We have no idea until we start trying hard. And I mean really trying hard, where you're obsessed with, hey, this is my new norm. My new norm is that, wow, this isn't always fun. It's not always meant to be fun. And that's when you know you're trying hard.
Is that, and so people listening to us that maybe are at 20% or 30%, you know, about, yeah, I'm going hard, I'm going max, and yet they're not seeing the results. Like, how do they actually shake themselves out of that? We're all in a battle with our own brains. That's all life. Of us. That's all life is.
It's the most powerful thing in the world, is your own brain. It can work for you or against you.
And as opposed to focusing on all those bad things that happened, all the things you didn't have, the people that called you names, all the stuff in Brazilian again, and you start thinking, wait a second, I just visualized this, and now I can take it to the next level, because the visualization got you through SEAL.
It did. And I was able to visualize the end. So when I was 297, and I was all fat and out of shape, and I couldn't run a quarter mile, and I was drinking milkshakes and eating boxes of donuts, I visualized, man, how would it feel? For a brief moment, so there was 22 guys that graduated. I watched this segment on TV about these guys going through Navy SEAL training. And I couldn't even, I wasn't a great swimmer, I was afraid of the water, all this crap, man. But at the very end, it says 22 guys, there's commanding officers up there, and he gives this great speech. I was like, man, I wonder. So I started visualizing me being the 23rd guy in these dress whites, sitting there with these guys, getting that Navy SEAL, graduating this Navy SEAL training. I was like, God. So I put myself there. I was like, man, that's an amazing feeling. I put myself there at 297, not even able to do anything that these great men were doing. I said, man, if I could feel that would change my life. I could just feel that. It lasts for 1 second. You get that certificate, you walk across the stage, and what's next? But I didn't know that then. My mind was then, I thought I'd live in that moment forever. So I said, wow, man, if I could just feel like that. If I could feel like that.
And what was that feeling you wanted so bad? It was practice,
accomplishment? No, victory. I wanted to win. Not like beat somebody else. It wasn't about that. I just wanted to go the distance. Everything in my life, when something got hard, I quit. If it was reading, that's where, I wasn't great at reading. I wasn't great at writing, so I just quit. I couldn't catch on as fast as you. I had to work harder than you, so I quit. I wasn't great at things, so I quit. I'm not good at this. Like, man, if I could just go that distance, that extra mile, to just go, just to finish. I want to finish. I want to feel victory. And victory for me wasn't winning, it was just finishing. So I said, you know what? If I could feel like these guys feel, it would change my life. But what I realized, the best feeling I had was when I was by myself trying to lose this weight. I had to lose it in literally less than 3 months. 106 pounds in less than 3 months. And literally, I started feeling victory just by putting myself in the battle. It wasn't about going to Navy SEAL training. It wasn't about being the 23rd guy in that chair. I started realizing, man, just by going to war with myself every day and putting these challenges and these goals and these obstacles, these insurmountable obstacles. So it wasn't about losing 106 pounds. Me losing 5 pounds was an accomplishment. Me losing 10 pounds and then 50 pounds. And then the more I did this, the more I gained confidence. And then the more I gained confidence, the more I realized these guys can't do what I'm doing right now. I had no coach, had no trainer, had no money. I didn't know how to lose weight. I had no knowledge of what I was doing. I was just working. I was just sacrificing. And then through that, all these different tools started coming up. But I would have never found these tools if I didn't put myself in a very uncomfortable place. We all look for toughness. We all want it, but we look for it in a comfortable environment. You will not find toughness in a comfortable environment. Those of you who are listening to this, whoever hear this, you will not find it.
Some of you going to sleep and you don't deserve rest. You lazy. You don't deserve rest. Rest is for people who work. You ain't doing nothing. Every day you chilling. You only go to sleep when you've done something.
Your ego's a liar. Your ego's digging a grave of comfort. A grave of comfort that you're gonna crawl into voluntarily, where you get buried and you can't move anymore. That's what happens. That's what happens when you don't accept that whatever's going on is your fault. It is your fault.
You can lie to yourself and then you don't need discipline. You can tell yourself everything's okay and then you don't need discipline. You can tell yourself, you can lie to yourself and say that you're winning. You have to be cognizant. You have to be aware of how you are being influenced. Because in this day and age, right now, if you aren't careful, you can slide down the path of least resistance, the path to weakness, the path to fragility, and the path to a lack of control as to what is happening in our lives. In your life, you gotta be the master of your mind. You gotta exercise mind control.
I'm the general. I'm the soldier. I am going to obey orders without question.
And people say, like, what do you tell yourself? I'm telling myself anything. I'm not allowed to talk. Immediate obedience to the orders. That's what we're doing with ourselves.
You just can't do what you in love with, what you interested in. Sometimes you have to do what you don't want to do so you can live like you want to live. So if it's going to help you reach your goal, even if you don't like it, do it anyway. What's your why? You need a why. Why do you need a why? Because some days you're going to look at that alarm clock and it's going to say 6, and 6 is the time you wake up, and you're going to look again, it's going to say 6:05, and you're going to say, I don't want to get up. But that why is going to say, push yourself, get up. Your mama needs you. Your daddy needs you. Your children need you. Get up. Your why is going to push you when you can't push yourself. When you want to quit and give up, your why is going to give you that edge you need, that advantage you need to make you believe again, to make you get up when you got up 3 times and you say, I'm not getting up no more. Your why. You don't get here by quitting when you're tired. You get here by quitting when you finish, when you're done. You don't stop when you're tired. You stop when you're done. You stop when you complete it, when you execute it. Execution is worship. And so I execute for my mom. I execute for my grandma. I execute for my sister. That's why I can't quit and give up, even though I get tired just like everybody else. I need you to eat the dream. I need you to sleep the dream. I need you to talk the dream. Because some days you're not going to feel like getting up. Some days you're not going to feel like keep going. And the dream is going to push you. You a beast until it's uncomfortable. You a beast when the weather is right. You a beast when coach tell you to do something that you're comfortable with. You a beast when you play in your position. You a beast when everything is going right. But sometimes stuff start happening where it's uncomfortable and you start to break. You start to bend. You start to fold. You got to learn to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. It ain't always going to be the way you like it. It's not always going to be comfortable. The conditions ain't always going to be perfect. But if you want this, if you really want this, you got to learn to sacrifice. You got to learn to give up to go up. To be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. I need you to get up and I need you to work like your professor is grading your paper. I need you to work like you got an examination. I need you to work like you're trying to get credit. I need you to work like you're trying to graduate. I need you to put in that work and put in that time. And I need you to outwork everybody. Every single day when I wake up, every minute of the day, every hour of the day, I have an opportunity. Every opportunity is the last opportunity. Every opportunity, I have to reprove myself again. Because the day you become content, the day you stop evaluating yourself, the day you stop growing, the day you stop getting better is the day you die. Is the day the person who's trying to catch you will get you. Ain't nobody stopping you but you. You not average. Stop acting like it. You not average. Why you being average? You not average. Why you being good when you not good? You great. You phenomenal. When you gonna step up to the plate? And you have not given yourself enough credit to say, I just need to get up a half hour earlier and my whole life will change. I just need to get up 1 hour early. I just need to work 1 hour longer. I need to stop hitting that snooze button. If you were to make that one change, that one sacrifice, you would stop dreaming and start living it. I need you to dig deep, and I need you to make the rest of your life the best of your life. No excuses, just adjustments.